It's Wildcat Breakdown. We are back. I'm David Kelly for another season, my 11th with my main man, Glenn Howell, U of A football class of 1985. The Wildcats getting this season going later this week against the Utah Utes in a game that might be played in Utah, could be played here in Tucson. It's a truncated season because of COVID-19. And I guess what better way, Glenn, to start this whole thing off than we don't even know exactly where this game might be played on Saturday. But what are you most looking forward to about this 7-game run we're about to embark on here with your Arizona Wildcats?
First thing I'm looking forward to, Dave, is if we're playing football, okay? Before, I wasn't thinking we're going to play football. So this season is going to be all about adjustments. Who is going to be able to make the adjustments? It's like you said, we might be playing here. People might be thinking that we're going to play up in Utah. So the kids got to make adjustments. Coaches got to make adjustments. And it's going to be a mental season. Who is going to be mentally strong to get through all this COVID stuff? Thinking about maybe my guy that next to me is not going to be able to play. Or am I going to be able to handle that? You know, all those things are going to be happening right now during this season. And I think the strongest team mentally, and that's what coaches have to prepare them for, is to be strong mentally.
All right, let's dive into a little bit of offense and defense. I want to start with the quarterback position, obviously with Grant Gunnell taking over that spot. And I think what excites me most is it seems like this is really the first time that Noah Mazzoni and Kevin Sumlin have their guy, the guy that they have groomed to run their offense. And that's one of maybe the hopeful things, having a quarterback that really kind of fits the puzzle that excites me that there could be some potential for this season here in Arizona.
Well, Dave, the biggest thing is that, Noel likes to have that drop back quarterback, Kevin Sumlin also. And, having those guys, the key to Grant, I think, was just being able to get rid of the ball soon enough, okay? And sometimes he wasn't getting rid of the ball soon enough because his receivers weren't open. So those are the kind of things that I hope have improved over this offseason. And the offensive line, I think, is going to be pretty good. We got some good guys up front, Donovan and Morgan and Fears, and those guys are going to be good, stellar offensive lineman that's going to give Grant some time. And I think Booby Curry and Jamari Joyner are going to get better. Those guys are going to get better, and we're going to be able to see some passing game here.
And that was the biggest maybe thing for me at the end of last season. You had an injured offensive line, and they really could not protect Grant Gunnell. And I think that you have a little bit of a concern with the injury during camp to Josh McCauley and how that plays out there at the center position, and can they gel cohesively? Because I think he's a smart enough quarterback that he doesn't need a lot of time, but just give him enough time that he can allow those routes to uncoil and begin to make plays down the field with what I think is a very talented group of receivers.
Yeah, and also we got a tight end too. I think we're going to use the tight end. I think Bryce Walma's going to be a great weapon out there, and also Stacy, the JC transfer.
Stacy Marshall.
I mean, that guy's big. He's 6'5", 245, 250. The guy can block and obviously can catch the ball. So if we have a tight end that is going to be viable and given a threat to those defenses, that's going to open it up for a little bit for our wide receivers.
Yeah, and this is a group of wide receivers, Glenn. I wouldn't say maybe there's a standout guy, but I think they're all kind of maybe really solid and strong receivers. You don't have maybe that big target that you've had in the past, like a Caleb Jones or a Dan Buckner, but you don't have a lot of small guys like Samaje Grant and Nate Phillips. They're all kind of in that mid-range, and I think that Jamari Joyner, he's maybe the one that you would expect to potentially be that breakout guy, but he still has some things to prove to put himself in that category.
Yeah, and hopefully in this offseason they worked on getting routes and getting into their routes and also getting away from defensive backs and making yourself open in windows. That was an issue with us, I think, last year, that we weren't getting open in the windows. I don't think we had enough experience there to understand that, and I think as they go and they get older, they'll understand doing the film work and everything, and I think that they will do good. And our backfield is loaded. Our backfield is loaded with with Brightwell and Wiley, I mean, we're going to have a good running game, I think.
All right, let's circle over to the defense real quick, Glenn. And I think one of the things, the big thing is they lost the 3 starters. And you lost Tony Fields, you lose Colin Schooler, and you lose Scotty Young Jr. on the backside as well. But I think when I look at that, and again, those guys were going to be gone after this season anyway, so it's next man up in football. So you got some young guys and some older guys who haven't played, they're going to get a chance to play now. But I think when I look at those guys, the thing that's most impressive to me, is, in particularly with Colin Schooler and Tony Fields, is they graduated. They graduated and left, and not 4-year graduates. Those guys were 3-year graduates and left. That's pretty impressive for those guys. I mean, and they're always going to be Wildcats because they walked out of here with that University of Arizona diploma. But really impressive that those guys were able to conduct themselves on the field at a high level, as well as show that they could get it done expediently in the classroom as well.
And that's great. I'm more proud of those guys for doing that than anything they've done in their athletic career, Dave. And if nowadays, when you're a student athlete now in the year 2020, if you are not doing good in school, you're really trying hard. You have so much help to help you. The student center that they have at the University of Arizona is second to none. I mean, all the things, the ability of helping you with tutors and everything. So good for those guys, and I'm glad they graduated and went on to go play. But it's going to kill our defense, though, Dave. I think it is. I'm sorry. That's the other thing. I was a little extra there, but I was going to give him like a dead slap on the back. But it's going to kill our defense. We have Anthony Pandy, and that's it, man. And then we have, don't
forget Jalen Harris.
I know Jalen Harris, but I don't consider him an inside guy. Jalen Harris is a guy that's on the edge, but I mean, the inside guys, man, it's your time. And now, this is a great opportunity for a guy that says, you know what, I thought I could play at University of Arizona and everything, and now you're going to get your chance. So now we're going to see if you can play Pac-12 football. So here it is. Everybody's getting an opportunity, and we might get a star out of there.
Well, you've got some names. I mean, when you look at camp going back 3 years, I've always liked the look of Mikey Irving. So now it's his opportunity to come in here and step up and prove that he can be a strong defensive lineman in the Pac-12. You've got a couple of older guys and Roy Lopez who's going to obviously give you some help in there. So you've got some veteran, I think those junior, or not junior college, but those graduate transfers are going to help in that respect. This defensive line kind of gel. J.B. Brown obviously being that last key piece that you lost off of this defense. I mean, what are we going to see from this coaching and a new coaching staff, not to mention? What do you think these coaches are going to do to try to meld this all together?
Hey, this is when true coaching comes in, okay, where you got disarray with all your players. Everybody's gone. We got new guys everywhere. We got to teach them the defense. This is how we're going to see how communication is between the coaches and the players, because we're going to see that in the first game, Dave. We're going to see how they are going to be able to take this defense and make it work, okay? And we're going against a tough team in Utah. Utah's got a great offensive line, and I tell you one thing, what they're going to do, they're going to probably run it about 70 times, okay? They're going to try to run it down our throats. So we got to be ready for that. So we got to make big plays. And I think that our defense, our guys are just going to have to be able to adjust and just play their butts off.
Well, that's going to be the interesting thing. I know they've emphasized tackling in this camp and all throughout, virtually during the summer. And so that's going to be key. That's maybe one of the things we've seen in some of these college games is that the tackling, because guys, have not really been able to hit that much each other, has been a little bit lax in a lot of these games. But one other guy defensively, before we wrap it up, that I'm really looking forward to watching again in his senior year is Lorenzo Burns, who I think is one of the better cornerbacks we've seen here at Arizona in the last 10 years.
Yeah, Lorenzo's going to have to be the leader on that team. Him and Jalen and Pandy are going to have to get these guys together and say, listen, man, we got to start playing together, and that's how we're going to be successful. It's got to be 11-piece success. It can't be a 1 or 2 piece success where 1 or 2 guys are doing good and the rest of everybody's doing everything else. this defense is going to have to, everybody going to have to be assignment and alignment and be able to play together.
All right, real quick, over under 10 sacks for Jalen Harris.
Arizona's going to bring pressure.
I would say over.
You're saying over. I'm gonna say under. I think he'll be right about that. Maybe I need him to be 7 to 10. 10 would be more than 10. I think would be a lot, but I think if he could get into 7 to 10, that would be a really good year to propel him into his senior season. So you're gonna say over, and I'm gonna say under on that.
I'm gonna say over. Reason why I'm saying over is because I think they're gonna use him a little bit different this year. I think they're gonna give him in a situation where he can get some sacks in some situations where he's one-on-one, and I think he's gotten better.
All right. Well, this is the first of many Wildcat breakdowns to come over the course of that. We're going to be seeing a lot of each other, Glenn, in the next 7 to 8 weeks as we get through this sprint, which will be the Pac-12 season. We will have a preview of our game coming up against the Utah Utes, and as always, we'll preview that game for you on Saturday morning.